really. Oh, there's Sonny. Sonny's got only 45 minutes tonight. He's got to go somewhere.
You change. Read it.
Winda. I keep saying your name wrong, but very nice to see you. You're like a rock. Very good. The Luca. Nice to see you, Luca. Mike and Nick. Mike and Nick. They're busy. They're busy designing graphic novels, graphic comics. Yeah. All right. So
Okay, well, I'm going to mute off first. I'm going to mute off for a second. So hold on.
the lights on my. Oh, this is cool.
And Amelia, for some reason, your icon wasn't showing that I could mute you, so just make sure you show muted on your end, okay? Okay, I'm going to unmute you now, Paul. Oops. Oh, I can't unmute you. I think there's something wrong with the Zoom. It's not unmuting. Can you unmute yourself? Can you hear me?
I'm not going to let you mute me.
I already did mute you.
Going through the transmutation. I'm getting turned into light.
Is it because we're hosting?
There he goes. All right. Sorry, you got a big light here. Honey, can we block that? Close the door. You know, it's a little.
Let's close the door.
All right, let's try it. Yeah.
See if it gets too hot.
Oh, that's good. All right. Well, is anyone here for who hasn't been at one of these Zen-Bit slaps or hasn't heard of any of the YouTubes? If you have, just raise your hand or something. If you haven't, I mean. I'm just assuming everyone has a certain idea of what we're talking about, and that you've tried on certain shoes and they fit, so here you are. And if that's not the case, it's fine, but there has to be a certain grounding, because if you don't see that there's a presupposing of a non-existent thing being existing, and then wanting to get salvation for the non-existent thing, it won't make sense the next statement, which, if that's the case, your spiritual practices themselves are reinforcing the non-existent thing. So the first part is what gives real meaning to the second part. Yeah, the reason why, in a sense, not always, it's just based on, because you always precede everything, but let's say we've taken, well, I don't even want to go there, but let's say that we're in the condition of taking a non-existent thing as being me, as being Paul. And then if I hear that statement, your spiritual practices themselves are reinforcing a non-existent thing, I don't hear it as talking about me. I hear it as about talking about something else. It doesn't get through, yeah? So the whole premise of non-duality is a negation of what comes after, so to speak. So there's a negation of what comes after, and in that way, seeing all the assumptions that are believed to be true in a new light, then suddenly you find out what you are, which is not that, yeah? But you can't find out what you are by looking for what you are. It doesn't work, yeah? So they figured that out, and they came to this certain way to go about it, which is to look at what you're not, which is taken to be you, and in seeing all those activities that keep implying, assuming, asserting, historically authenticating the idea of being Paul, the doer, the seer, the feeler. I'm not even talking about the body. The body represents the claiming of all the verbs, and then the verbs are claimed to imply that there's a noun. If that's what's hearing the message seems to get neutered. So the most important point about the message is the follow-up appointment, because you need to hear the warnings of how the system will regroup, because it's very easy in a way to start after the heist instead of seeing it before, yeah? And so for me, the most valuable aspect of the message is the warnings about it, really. And if you can hear the warnings of how the mental state, it's arising as the doer when there's been a doing, is so fast, the arising of being the seer when there's a noticing of seeing, there's a noticing of feeling, there's a noticing of touching, the sense of being the toucher, the feeler, the thinker, the seer is very, very fast. Some of the research says it's about a second and a half. And so if you see that as a process, which it is, there's no process that can get before that process. Yeah? So if I set out to meditate, the mental state has already claimed that act to imply the meditator. That's how fast it is. That's why, because of these conditions, that's why meditation may not be what you're thinking at the place you're at. It may be actually a disservice because it may be reinforcing that which you're not instead of destroying it. That's the warning, yeah? And the other warnings is the quickness of the claiming of being the one who hears the message is just as, less than 2 seconds. And so the message of "you're a lion," coming from a lion, gets translated into "I can become like a sheep." I can become like a lion as a sheep. So the sheep gets presupposed so quickly that it neuters the message that you're a lion. So it seems so simple. There's a lion, maybe masquerading as a sheep, maybe forgetting that it's a lion, seemingly, and then another lion just says, "Hey, you're a lion." You would think that would be it, yeah? Like you would think when that young lion got dragged to the pond by the older lion, and that young lion was under the identification as being a sheep, and he suddenly saw the image of his face and the old lion's face and got that it was a lion, yeah? You would think that was it. But what happens? They don't follow it up. They walk away from the pond, and in about 5 seconds, the old young lion now still takes itself to be a sheep. Yeah? And so in that short bit of time, the whack, and the lion felt it, and people feel it at talks. They get that whack, but in about 3 seconds, it's been neutered. And again, it becomes, I can become like a lion, and now non-duality is seen like a path, yeah? That if I can understand non-duality, if I can arrive at what non-duality is, which it isn't anything. It's a negation. It's a statement of negating. What you are can't be found, yeah? You can't arrive there. It's there. It's so there, it's never not been there, yeah? Or so here, it's never not been here. So, to me, in the beginning of the talks, I thought all you needed was the lion to pull the young lion's head over the pond and get a whack. And then everything would be corrected, and the young lion maybe would have to shake off old sheep habits or shake off some stuff, but very quickly the sheepness would drop off, and it would be very simply clear, I'm a lion. Yeah, it would never get confused about that point. Maybe it wants to become a better lion, far out. But the premise, is solid. It's a lion. And then things were built on that. But what I noticed was that, like I just said, the young lion and the old lion thinks it's done its job. It takes off, yeah? Leaving the young lion to eat some sheep or something. But the young lion joins the fucking herd again and starts acting like a sheep. So then the old lion hears about this. He's got to come back to the herd again. And he's got to grab the lion, a.k.a. sheep, and say, "Hey, you're a lion." Yeah? And then he finally realizes it. The old lion realizes that's not working. I've told this freaking lion it's a lion a number of times, and it's just constantly keep acting like a sheep. So what's the move? That's the premise of non-duality. It was talking to the lion, the young lion, about the sheep, yeah? What it would be like to be a sheep. And then the young lion identifies with that, And then the whammo occurs, and you're not that. Yes? So suddenly, finally, what wasn't getting through, that you're a lion from the lion, it finally gets through by negating the identification as the sheep, because that's it. It's not like the lion isn't getting itself as a lion. It's trying to get itself as a lion as a sheep. Yeah? That's the correction. So now at least the cart, the horse is in front of the cart. Yeah? And now you start watching what you used to look from. Yeah? You start watching it. You've now been moved back, maybe knowing it or not knowing it, and a lot of shit you were living under without knowing it, you start to know it. Yeah? You start recognizing that there is no self. There's something called selfing, that it's a verb. Yeah? It never is gonna, it's not in the act of becoming a self. There's no becoming, there's no self. It can't, it's like a desire that can never be fulfilled. If it wants to be a self, it's gonna have an unfucking fulfilled desire. It's going to be promoting agitation in the system because it can't become. But what it does, it implies it already is. That's the move. That's what selfing is doing. When we're hearing it, it's implying we are already a self. Yeah? It's implying what it can never produce has already been produced. That's what it does. Yeah? And we're not seeing it. So we get the message, we go to a beautiful setting, and there's a lot of people in the room, and the satsang is clear or not, it doesn't matter. You get whacked, you take a walk in the garden at the break, and you're feeling like a lion. It's really fucking cool. Then you go back in, and suddenly you listen to non-duality, not as an invitation, but as a way, yeah? The sheep turns it into a way that it can become like a lion, yeah? To the point where there's the selfing wanting to get the attributes of non-self for itself. Yeah, it's that insane. Yeah. So the more important part of the message is the warnings. Yeah, because the message is just stating a fact. You're a lion. There's no dispute about that. Yeah, you're a lion. There's no argument. So there's no need. But the value is in the warnings about how that the activity of the mental state will replace you as a sheep. It will replace you as a sheep. And now, the only way a sheep can look at the idea of being a lion is to become like a lion. Yeah? To become like a lion. Yeah? It can't, it's the same thing that happened with me with recovery. I saw, in recovery, in the big book of recovery, they describe the defeat by self. The root of the problem is self-centeredness, self. There's so many things, statements about self, yeah? And yet, most people take the self to be them, yeah? Yet, when I saw it wasn't me, then it immediately showed me that my desire for freedom was totally crippled because I was trying to be free as self. And then it was corrected and I saw a freedom from self. And it's not a result of anything. It's prior to the bondage of self. There's an inherent freedom from self because you're not self. It's just that simple. So something doesn't have to be neutralized or knocked a couple down pegs or vanquished or killed. There isn't one. So the relief that you seem to get was always available at all times. And it's not based on any requirements. And it's sort of like it's a garden and it has its own sun and its own water source. You're not watering it and shit like that. It's just, it's being. Yeah? It's being. And so you see the warnings, that's all. Yeah. The lion is already a fact, or you are what you're looking for, or, the seeker is the sought. Hopefully, if you come to this idea of non-duality, there's been that's rang, that resonated with you. I hate that word, but yes, something occurred and you're pretty clear about that. And yet, how can it seem to actualize? What's going on? Yeah? Why is it so difficult for a lion just to get that it's a lion and then just be a lion like it always has been? Yeah? Because the lion is dreaming itself as a sheep. Yes? It's taking itself lazily all day that I was a sheep, I'm definitely gonna be a sheep, or why the hell am I fucking worried so much about who's gonna be the next sweater? I must think I'm a sheep, yeah? So all this happens, so therefore I am a sheep, yeah? It doesn't just go, I am sheep, it doesn't. It goes, I was sheep, I will be sheep, therefore I am sheep. You have to see it's manufactured. It doesn't have, it's not there. It was there and it's going to be there. Yeah? And therefore it's assumed to be here now. So we try to put it in, we try to catch it in a way by selfing, because even giving it the idea of self is too much for it. That's giving it a noun quality it doesn't have. There's selfing. And then one of the warnings is, when people hear the idea of selfing, they call me up or email me and they go, oh, Paul, I've been selfing all day. They didn't see it again, yeah? Because there's an ownership of being the one who's selfing. That's the conjuring of self, is that sense that when you explain to someone, when there's been a noticing of selfing, you say, I've been selfing all day. Or, selfing has been driving me crazy all day. Both of them are off, yeah? That's the product of the selfing. You listen to it, and then it provokes a sense of being a self, yeah? And then the self claims the selfing, and the verb now is put after the noun of self, which is all made up. And therefore, you're in LA, you don't believe in your LA, so you're buying tons of maps how to get to LA. Yeah? And so while you're in LA and you're burning with this desire to arrive at LA, your head is busily denying that you're in LA. It has to make the journey seem worthwhile, yes? Who the hell would buy maps of how to arrive at LA when they're in LA? Yeah? So this noble journey comes up. So that noble journey, to seem noble, there's got to be an underlying, which we're not noticing, a denial that we're in LA. Yeah? So firm in faith in what we're not, yeah, and active in a denial of what we are is basically what's going on without knowing it. Yeah? So either you can see the product or you can look from the product. Yeah? You can see it, you can see the manufacturing and the assumption and the appliedness and the repetition and the supposing, or you're looking from all of that as a fact. Yeah? You're taking that which was supposed to be a fact, you're taking what you're not to be a fact, and therefore there you go. And it's going to see a whole different event here than seeing it from what's seen. It is. There's no way. It's unbelievably different. Yeah. Everything may look the same, but how you you'll just find out. Yeah. Just entertain the ideas and see what happens. Yeah. Yeah. So. All right, well, is that good? Yes? Any questions?
Anybody want to raise their hand in the box? We've got some good material for the lion and sheep skits.
Hmm?
Sure, sure.
Well, we were putting together a good skit for, like, we have, let's say, a lion that's a store clerk at a 7-Eleven in LA, and this other lion comes in, obviously dressed as a sheep, and asks to buy a map of how to get to LA. And then the lion is like, where do I start? And then just slaps the other lion, and the sheep costume falls off. And, oh.
Welcome to the don't mind a mic.
No, so
And then the other lion puts on the sheep roll. Says it's the one who slapped the lion.
We need an animator, man. Please, somebody on YouTube that animates. Please do some skits for us.
Daniel raised his hand. I'm unmuting him now.
Daniel.
Can you hear me?
All I see is Kerry Klein looking at me. Where's Daniel?
Right here.
Oh, Daniel, I remember. Where are you? All right, Daniel, I can hear you. I'll find you soon.
Okay, that's fine. I really don't have a question, but it felt like you're speaking to me. There, you know, we have similar paths. I went to India, sat with Ramesh, and had, like, I would call awakening, a ripening. Things kind of fell off. The doer fell off. And it seems like the doing or the not doing became the new doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
And it do it. I know that can't be undone. But it was such a trick from.
I didn't hear some of that. I heard the last thing about doing the non-doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what we're sharing, bro. I saw Ramesh in 2000 or 2001. I like the book he wrote called Who Cares? And yeah, everyone has a sense of the message when they hear it. It's what happens after. Yeah? That slipping into the sheep suit. When you're slipping into the sheep suit, it says you're already a sheep. That's what it does. It uses time differently than we're programmed as the action figure. That's why we miss it. It uses time. It produces an after effect that gets presupposed to be before. That's what it does. Yeah. So basically, the sheep uniform's there. You're not even in it. Yeah. You're not nothing. But when the voice gets captured, it says you're already a sheep, and then it gives you the great glory of not getting into the sheep skin. Yeah. But you're not doing it as a sheep. Yeah. So you don't catch like the second appearance of the selfing or the third. Yeah, we're satisfied for the first and we think the job's done, but it ain't done because it regroups and then the same trick over and over again, it just tries to play. Yeah. So more gets revealed and the revelations turn into warnings, really, so that other minds can. Because if you've heard about something, maybe at the time it's being presented, you'll see through it. Yes. If you have no idea, it will do its job, and you'll start looking from that. Yeah. So that's the whole point. One of the points about the talks is just because I saw stuff. Yeah. I saw the selfing. I saw it went, let's say, like almost like 7 rings, yeah. So I would be assuming I was seeing a mental process. Then there would be a realization. Well, the I was the mental process, and then I caught it like 7 times. I didn't, but there was a seeing of it, and then there was like a quantum leap or a 100th monkey phenomenon. I sort of got something. And there was a loss of interest in catching the thief after that. Because I saw the thief and policeman shit. Yeah? And so there was a loss of interest in it. And when I saw it the first time, I had the knowledge of all the times I saw it. If I saw it the 8th time, I had the knowledge of all the times I saw it. Yeah? It didn't matter anymore. I just knew it was mechanical and it was just going to keep doing what it's doing. Yeah. And so. You know, the beautiful thing is we are before all that, inherently. We are the awareness of that, yeah? Yeah. So. What happened with you, or seemingly, Daniel, happens to most of us. That's the whole point. That's the frustration of it. Some people have completely no non-duality intellectually, completely, but it's empty. Yeah, it's like an empty suit. It doesn't do what we hoped it would do. Not even close. Yeah, so there's. There's no need to talk about the lion or describe the lion. There's a need to talk about the sheep and describe the sheep. Yeah? The lion will be found out. The lion is a fact in this example. There's no need to sing the glories of lionness as a sheep. Yeah? I'd much rather learn about what I'm not. And in that learning it, I recognize when it's being presented and inferred and implied. And at that point, where you're resting in is a solid fucking base. It's unshakable. It's sort of like the screen with all the movies on it, yeah? None of the movies shake the screen. None of the movies provoke the screen to fucking crack open. None of the movies that are occurring can produce any effect on the screen. Or like the sky and everything that appears in the sky is left untouched. It allows everything to arise, but it's not affected by any of it. That's like what we are like, yeah? That's what we are really like. So that's already a given. That basis is sound. It's watching what that wants to build something on that. Yeah, it can't get rid of it. It can't get rid of the before, but it implies that it's the before. Yeah. And then the before becomes something we seek from the fake before, yeah? And that's why it's a form of blindness, because we are the before. We're not this manufactured after that's masquerading as the before. We are the before, and we can see what we're not. What has a great interest, it doesn't matter, Dan's gone. What has a great interest in liberation is in us.
Right.
That which needs liberation is in us. That's what happens. You lose interest in the need for liberation. You lose interest in all the fucking, the great prizes of seeking and shit. You lose interest in it all because the greatest value is that which it always is. And you are that. Yeah? So you lose interest in all the pursuits. I hope you will, sooner or later. Yeah? And then it's such a tricky thing. All at once, like in Zen, they would talk about it, like 1 second can seem like 1,000 years, yeah? It's all at once is to have 1 second of time between you and you, in a way, yeah? It just wants to slip it in there, and then it's as far fucking away as the fucking Saturn is to us here, yeah? And it's all us. It's all us. It's us dreaming, and it's us being that which is the context of all dreaming. Yes? It's us in manifestation, and it's us in rest, so to speak. Yeah? You just see what you're not. It's only an appearance of what we are, really. You catch it, and it's all that needs to be stripped down or stripped off are the uniforms. It's all us. So the policeman uniform, the fucking thing, it's like all the emperors have no clothes. That's the beautiful thing. You're neither one or the other. Yeah. I mean, I think Hawaiian PO, the great Zen master, saves us so much time with just a simple thing. Whatever can be perceived can't be perceiving. Yeah? Yeah. that which is perceiving isn't a perception, nor is the perceiver. It's not a thing. That which is perceiving isn't a perceiving. It isn't. It's something other than that. Yeah. So that which is perceiving can't be perceived. Yeah. So anything I can see, thoughts, whatever, there's different ways of seeing. It's not just vision. Everything I can come in contact with is not that which is coming in contact with it. It isn't. Yeah. It's what we are. It's like the old thing, the seeing can't be seen. The hearing can't be heard. The feeling, that which is feeling can't be felt. That which is tasting can't be tasted. Yes? I mean, that's as clear as out, Do you need to take a 3-week retreat to have that explained? It's so fucking simple. It just knocks all these presumed, action figure pieces off of the game board. Yeah? It's the Eiffel Tower, the Buddha out in a way, and then they appear again. But now you're not. Your whole life isn't dependent on how the boot does. That's for sure. Yeah. So then the Hawaiian PO again. I don't see how. Do you really believe Hawaiian PO or anyone who had the position of sharing would say to Jim or Bill or Peter, "Hey, Jim, you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha"? The only appropriate target of that statement would be the Buddha, yeah? So he wasn't seeing Jim, yeah, as Jim. He was seeing the Buddha. And he was talking through Jim, not to Jim, hopefully to get through the defenses that Jim represents to get to the Buddha. And so the Buddha can hear, "Hey, Buddha, you can't use yourself to find yourself. Far out." Direct communication, completely direct communication. Doesn't take like 8 hours. You know what I mean? The Buddha doesn't have to be explained to the Buddha. The Buddha gets it. Yeah? Comes out of, wait a minute, oh yeah, Jim continues, but I'm not Jim. And now, if you want to go to LA, you'll never want to go to LA while you're in LA. That's the clarity. Yeah. You'll never want to go to LA while you're in LA. You don't want to take a spiritual bus to arrive at where you already are. It's just pragmatic. It's insane. Maybe the spiritual bus will go by all the celebrity houses, all the dead masters. I don't know. So that would be interesting. But you'll have no interest in going to LA if you realize you're in LA. It's just obvious. I mean, I can't see how it could be any less confusing. Mm-hmm. So, are you where you think you are? And if you're not, then all your plans and all your maps about where and how you're going could come under review. Yeah. Not your review, because you have a vested interest not being in LA, because you spent thousands of dollars for all these books about LA and the maps, and so it has an invested interest not to be in LA, but you're in LA. That's the fact. Yeah. So, yeah. I would say that's the essence of non-duality as an invitation. It's a disarming, yeah. It's a chilled outness, because you see the other futility of using this to get this, yeah. It's not built to embrace that. It isn't. It can express it and shit like that, but it can't get it, which is what this is built for. This is built to know and to get and experience. You can't experience what you are. It's impossible. So really, the body, christened as you, is a failed system. It's not going to take you to the other shore, because you are already in the other shore or on the other shore. Yeah? That's the dilemma. So there's a rude awakening to the system, but it's hallelujah, really, because something, man, all the blowing up of those dolls is just exhausting, you know? There's just a stopping and there's a, you know, and you get reconnoited, and then, like they say in Zen, you'll see blue is blue and red is red, you know? And you won't be, I'm so uninterested in hearing descriptions of what I am. I really. It's like, why would I want, it's sort of like we used to do a talk in a bookstore, a spiritual bookstore. And they'd have tons of books in there coming in all the time. So the front area where they had the desk where the people sold the books, there would be books all over. So we were like loitering around after a talk, and there was a book I saw, a big, like 900-page book, and the title was Consciousness. And I'm going, what the fuck? Why would consciousness want to read about consciousness? You know what I mean? It's being consciousness. Why do you want to? Oh, let me stop being consciousness to fuel a yearning to be conscious. It's insane to me. Yeah. Now, if you were unconscious, it would make sense. But you can only seemingly be unconscious. It can only appear to that which is conscious that you're unconscious. That's it. It doesn't change. There's no one who's unconscious. Even the ones who are knocked out on a hospital, you know, in an operating theater are conscious. Yeah? That's not the surface, but their consciousness. So why would I want to forego being that to become that? And that's what the mental state is doing. It's trying to deny a fact, which is you are awake, so that you can become awake. It'll be I'll be able to write blogs, I'll change in my fashion statement and fucking, you know, hopefully get some girls on the side, you know, whatever. Yeah, becoming awake sounds great to the head. The head loves that idea, but being awake is a fact. It's like the elephant in the room with all spirituality. You are that which you want to arrive to be. If you had to become that, 80 years is too little time. It wouldn't take a nanosecond. So, you know, hey, there's not much glory in it. There isn't. It's ordinary. It's completely ordinary. If I was younger when I set off on spirituality and I saw me now, that was the reason why I wanted to become spiritual. I didn't want to be ordinary. I didn't want to be just ordinary. I wanted to be special. I wanted people come up to me at the bus and say, "Oh, your eyes are so bright." That would last a week, you know? I'd be in Indian sweats, boiling my ass off, but I refused to leave because I didn't want to be talked about at the rest of the retreat. Oh, he's the guy that split from the fucking sweat. So I took it. My spiritual pride was like fucking, like we say this in AA, hey, you got to be willing to save your ass instead of your face. But when I went into AA, I thought my face was my ass. The mental state was completely living for an image. Yeah, and at my expense, really. Yeah, shit. So this is just a correction that never needed to be made, you know? As soon as it takes hold, you'll realize it's always been this way. Nothing has been done or nothing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. So we have three. Number 3 wants to ask a question.
Daniel, I'm unmuting Brahmini now.
Oh, Brahmini. She's under the solar panel.
Tried to unmute, but okay, good.
I'm trying to find her.
Can you hear me
Is it
now?
working, Mike? Is it getting a good sound now?
Yeah, you You sound great.
Oh, good. Good. Great.
Can you hear me now?
That
Can
sounds
you
like
hear
a
me?
song. Can you hear me now? Yeah. I'm trying to find you.
I'll wave. I'm under the solar panel.
I know. I lost the solar panel. Hold on. Oh, go ahead. Oh, yeah. There you are.
Okay.
All right. I
Okay.
see it now.
So, of course, this question is going to come from the concept of
Yeah, don't worry about it.
right. Okay. So I'll find that I'm just in the experience of being, I'm having a good morning, just doing whatever needs to be done. And then I'll go and interact with other people. And it's not a blame thing, but I feel that all of a sudden they like throw the cloak of the sheep on me and they're talking to me like a sheep. And then I go back into like, oh yeah, I'm the sheep that they're talking about or talking to. And I'm not sitting in just the being anymore. I'm playing a role as some person that they like the sheep. So
Yeah, that's inclusive. That's inclusive, honey. You're playing the role of a sheep doesn't exclude the beingness.
it's true. So
Yeah.
just play the role of the sheep. It's okay.
Yeah,
So
it's
just go
fine.
ahead and play it. All right.
Why not? You can't help yourself.
Yeah, there's nothing to, yeah. I guess what's happening is that they're perceiving me as the sheep that I don't want to be that sheep. I want to be a different kind of sheep, which is,
Well, you're
that
not
would
that.
make sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not that sees it that way.
Yeah,
Yeah?
very true. The other
Yeah.
thing that's coming up is, you know, the one who the practices are either whether they're happening or not, it doesn't have any effect on myself that I already am.
Yeah.
But there was a period of time for a couple of months that I had some extreme apathy.
Yeah.
And so that's just going to ebb and flow. Sometimes sitting in the self, I'm not so interested in anything going on in the world. And then there's
Yes.
times where I'm more interested.
Yes. It's not you anyway, so. Of course, that happens to most people, don't you think?
Yeah,
Certain things occur and then the interest and attention gets redistributed. Yeah. And a lot of the familiar suggestions of being special get dried up. Yeah. And the last thing
absolutely.
that the mental state fears is its own irrelevance, really. So yeah, it can be shook up. So if you don't act out and don't die, it gets really good. It's sort of like it's sort of like the skin of the snake. Yeah,
It's going to slough off.
it sloughs off, and yet the thing is, you're going to hear news bulletins coming from the skin's point of view. Telling you to put a lot of moisturizer on and
That's,
watch out for
yeah,
that rock. But the snake
right.
is quite okay with it. Yeah. Yeah. So you'll hear
Very
it, but it's not you. So that's it. Yeah.
Just hear it.
Well, yeah, well, you can't
Well,
help
if
it.
it's,
Conscious.
that's right.
Yeah. So conscious hearing is going to happen. Yeah. Now the dilemma, see, for many of us, because of, you know, you can even see it as in a physical example. When you were young, like baby, there was conscious contact, and mostly you wanted to taste everything, right? You know, a rock or whatever. You were trying to get taste. So there was a distribution of seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, yeah? And very little attention to thoughts or anything or interpretation. Yet, as time went on, this got more developed. And then some people don't touch anything all day, basically, you know, like a flower or something. Yeah. Some people only
Yeah,
taste the same food. Their
right.
smelling is gone. They have no sense. But it's all up here, almost like those dogs who have mange. They put those cones
Yeah,
around. So a lot of us, we're almost living in a satellite dish, just picking up K-Paul all day. And, you know, that's going to change. The distribution, yeah, will change. Yeah. And then you will observe it. You'll see there'll be expression of it and there'll be an observation of it. And the observation doesn't end at doesn't end at the conclusion it's you. It ends up at another conclusion. Yeah. Yeah. Let's call it the being or whatever. It ends up at
Right.
another conclusion, which isn't the
Right.
self-centered one. Yeah.
Yeah, and a non-mental conclusion
No, it's
or
not a mental
non-intellectual.
conclusion. Yes.
Right.
So then you will have a certain intimacy without words, without thought, before thoughts. Yes. And
Yes.
that can withstand millions of thought storms, no problem. Yes, you're finally
Right.
on solid footing, and you recognize it. Yeah,
Yeah.
even as the
Yeah.
action figure, we're not 2 levels below a coconut. It gets through. Like in
Right.
my view, I'm in a recovered view as an action figure, so I'm very clear that something has done for me what I can't do for myself, and I'm very clear that something is doing for others what they can't do for themselves. I mean, it's very clear, yeah?
It's very
And
clear.
so that's a sense of humility. So the action figure knows its place. It's not a cause, it's an effect, yeah? And
Yes.
yet, it can express and observe the cause of all causes coming through, yeah? That's a joy.
Can you also say again? Repeat what Wang Po was saying because I got it a little confused about the perceived and the
Oh,
perceiving
all
and
right. So whatever can be perceived can't be perceiving. So, yes, obviously, anything you can see, hear, feel, taste, and touch, yeah,
yes,
or
yes,
perceive can't be perceiving,
of course not
which of
because
course
it's
not.
like
But now compare that to the narrative in one's head. The narrative in one's head is what is perceiving is a perceived. Yes?
what is perceiving is a
Is a
perceived.
perceived, yeah. It believes the body is it, yeah?
Acha.
See?
Yes.
So the whole basis of the narrative world we live under is, from Hawaiian Po's point of view, is erroneous, yeah? You don't have to go into the particulars. The foundation is completely off. Where the mental state is assuming that that which is perceiving is a body, is a thing. And Hawaiian Po just negated that by saying whatever can be perceived, which is a bod, this body can't be perceiving. So while you're perceiving, you're seeing this body. This body isn't what's perceiving you. Yeah? You see it?
That's that's the that's getting the cart back behind the horse.
Yes,
It's
exactly. Because see, the narration is that you're the one who's conscious, and that you that's being implied is pictured as a body. So you're basically starting from such a suspect assumption. It's yeah, it's amazing that it's gone this far. Really, it's insane.
is there a way to is there a way to catch the concepts before the mind believes them? It's just the staying as the being and watching the concepts arise.
No. You catch the concept, and you also catch the mental state believing it. Yes. It's not
Yes.
necessary that the mental state stops believing it. If you're waiting for that, you're going to be waiting a long time. You see the conceptual presentation, and you see the mind that's believing it. Yeah, the mental
And
state.
and that's the keeping the perceiving on what you're not and not just have to be who you be what you're
Well, you don't have to go anywhere. You are there. So just the mental state is a mechanical event. It doesn't have the ability to be convinced for long. To me, that's a waste of time. You don't stop at seeing the conceptual presentation. You question that which is saying it's the seeing of the conceptual presentation, and you'll see that's not you. Now, maybe it will show up again, and you'll see it's not you, and there will be a point that it's like a critical mass occurs, and you get it, it's not you. Whatever size or uniform or look it has, it's not you. So
Yeah.
pretty much, if you store it as work, the work's over in a way. You just, and like Ramana said, I'm probably not, he would say you can go only so far and then grace does the rest. Yeah. So
Yeah.
just see what you're not, and then grace does the rest. Wherever that is, hey, I'm happy. I'm grateful for wherever. See, my goals have really shrunk. Yeah, traveling lighter is just an incredible enough for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't need any more. I don't want more enough. It's just enough. Yes, and the job's been done for this little 90-year period of however I'm going to exist. That inquiring mind is out. The light's been put out.
Yeah.
I don't. You know what I mean? It's
Yes.
you move somewhere else with that. Yeah. So I've lost interest in it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to get extremely better. I don't want to get super radically charged better. I want to get, jet engine better. No, I don't want any of that. I want a nice cup of coffee in the morning. Yeah,
Yes.
whatever. My goals are very meager. Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
I need to have this platform because if I went to a spiritual group and they thought I was a spiritual person or a teacher, I would feel like a fraud.
Yeah.
I did this one at a group, and before I started to speak, they had like one of those magic marker.
A whiteboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just wrote, "You don't need to do this anymore." And then we had the talk. And sometimes I actually have to sit with people and go, "Have you actually listened to the talks? Why would you want to have me here?" Join Paul at the 5 a.m. yoga. Forget it. I won't be there. Join Paul hyperventilating and going into an altered state. Done that already. Where I am living, we have a lot of frequency. The people that come to the talks, yeah, all of us. We go out for coffee, we go out to eat, we hang out. So any pretenses of Paul as being anything have been dashed. Yeah. I'm just a message, yes? The message is the importance.
Yeah.
The message. Yeah, the messenger, see, the water that wants to come in here doesn't need a golden, fucking steel reinforced hose. It will use the most crimped up fucking hose it finds and it will come out. Yeah. And the hose doesn't have to become a great hose to conduct the water. The water basically is using the hose. The hose really has nothing to do with the situation. Yes?
So, do you ever listen to K-Paul? Like, do you just not when the mind talks
I
about
listen
stuff?
to it. It's fucking hilarious. It's the most unbelievable. It's like, you know, when some people, they're very serious and they make a really serious movie, but when you watch it, it's so serious, it's fucking funny. When they wouldn't see it as funny. So you're laughing at one of the biggest, most serious scenes of the movie. It's hilarious. That wasn't their intention, but it's hilarious. This is what it's like. Yeah. Not all the time, but it's usually like, it was like 2,000 channels, and about 1,998 of them were drama stations.
Yeah.
Now it's been turned into a comedy with a couple of news broadcasts, some good drama, mostly from hearsay.
Some advertising
Live
for the coffee
vicariously
place
through
down
other
the street.
people quite a lot. Yeah. No, I'm just fucked up like always, but I've lost interest in it, really. Basically. I don't know. I wish I could tell you. I just do. It's very surprising. I didn't know. There's like in Zen, they have the statement a gateless gate. When you're interested into going through the gate, it has a gate. When you lose interest in going through the gate, it's a gateless gate. Yeah.
You just walk right in.
Well, it's based on you don't even have to walk. If there's a gateless gate, there ain't no gate. So right where you are, you can just lay down if you want. It's not even asking you to walk anywhere.
I love your
The open secret is revealed by lack of interest, in a sense. Or let's say redirected interest. Yeah. Which you can't do, because then it would be the old interest trying to redirect interest, which would just reinforce the old interest. Yeah. But you observe that you've lost interest in a lot of stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
You did, you explained it. Yeah. So that goes on, and then there's a reconfiguring, and then the interest may go into the micro world. Yeah. You may be incredibly interested in a flower blooming on a cactus. Yeah. You will. Yeah. I mean, there'll be more attention given to that flower than you gave to what was actually happening in years. Yeah. Yeah, because most of the interest and attention has been enslaved to what's not happening. It's all there to reinforce the projection of Paul. When you lose
Yeah.
interest in that, you've got interest in the tiniest little things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I used to always look at these monks, and they would live in a place for years, and they would do the same walk every day because they had a fresh mind. Yeah. They didn't have to do a new trek every day and make it higher and harder. They walked around the same place for 30-something years because their mind was fresh. Yeah. They were here. They were alive. I do the same. I've walked this place near Mill Valley Library when my legs were better. It's 5 minutes from my house. I just walked for 45 minutes. I didn't have to drive for 8 hours to convince me I was on an incredible hike. I just walked. It was beautiful, and every time it was different. Different birds would show up, everything. Yeah, it was awesome. So this is like, sometimes when you're available, you're not available for tons of shit anymore. Yeah, the availability is in and of itself a lot. Yeah. Being available isn't to be available to things all day. It's being available, as no thing. Yeah. It's different. Yeah. So yeah, you're doing fine, honey. Just keep, connect your little battery to the solar panel right above you.
Right.
All right.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah. Thank you, hon.
Thanks, Rami, our Our friends Bill and Marie are up. He's good at unmuting himself.
Who's this?
Bill and Marie.
Oh, Bill and Maria, yes.
Yeah.
I see you.
I think they're good at unmuting themselves. I'm afraid to try. Okay, well, I'm unmuting them. Not working on
He's going to do
There
it
we
for
go.
you guys.
There we go.
Hi, Paul.
Hey, how are you two?
Good.
Good.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
So this is a little bit of a repeat, and I apologize for this because you're making it so crystal clear. But I'm struggling with the how-to a little bit. Intellectually, I feel like everything that you've said in all of your talks is clear and almost, I'd say it's obvious and inarguable. And there are times I actually have an experience of what you're saying, where I actually feel, I feel what you're saying. I have these moments where there's a sense of what I am and what I'm not, that's more experiential, is the only way I guess I could put it. It's not an intellectual, mental thing. It's experiential. In fact, my mind will often say that I'm nuts, but when I'm having this experience, there's a mental story that pops up that says that's completely insane. You're deluding yourself. And I guess the question I have is I find that the world, everything about the world we live in, the dynamic life we live in, conspires to argue against presence and awareness and consciousness. It creates a reality to, and in my own experience in my dynamic life, it feels very real still, even though I have these experiences and have this clarity mentally. There's this continuing tangibility to what feels like reality. And you mentioned grace. I'm sort of feel like I'm doing my ass off trying to get there. I'm doing exactly the thing you say don't do, and yet I don't know what else to do other than that. And it is exhausting. It's sort of a, I'm tired of it. I'm ready to get it, and yet there's nothing I can do to get it. So it's like I feel fed up with the whole thing, to be honest, because it's an in and out, get it, don't get it, and the persistence of the personal self is exhausting. I mean, so I'm not sure I'm asking a question. I'm more vocalizing the note. I guess the question is what else to do other than simply just keep on getting on.
Yeah. Well, I think in your case, the doing is going to lead you to a collapse, which will be great. So, yeah.
Say, yeah, you broke up.
In one weird way, you can actually do yourself into non-doing by just getting totally exhausted in the futility of doing. So, yeah. So you're just, you got to get to being sick and tired. You're just tired. So keep doing more shit. And then you'll fulfill the sentence of sick and tired.
Maybe I'm not. Maybe I was understanding.
You'll do more shit, and then you'll be sick and tired of being sick and tired, and now you're getting close. Yeah. I don't mind. I have a little sadism, I think. I like this. I like the frog in the boiling water.
Unfortunately, the frog doesn't know the water got hotter, and it ends up getting.
You're not a frog, though. That's the beautiful thing. So just, bro, the things, sometimes that's the best way. Let it just burn down to the nub, Yeah, just do what you're doing, and then there'll be one of those existential crises. Hopefully you'll get the hard way, because sometimes the hard way is the best way in a way, because it's more convincing. So you do yourself into the total futility of being a doer. So carry on, my friend.
If you could just whack me with a little grace, I'd appreciate it, so I don't have to carry
You've
on.
already been whacked.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's a past tense. That's what we're not seeing. Yeah.
That's right.
The spiritual subpoena was served already years ago. Yeah. You just made a mistake about the court date. Go back and look at it closer.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
I mean, is it so important not to fail? Fuck it. Yes. Maybe ask yourself a question. What is it I know that I don't want to know? Yeah. So the mental state knows, let's say this is true, but it doesn't want to know it. Yeah, because it upsets its whole apple cart. Yeah. What would you expect with a jealous, suspicious system? It's going to fight to the last. Yeah. It doesn't want to lose the attention and interest. That's its whole lighting mechanism is borrowed light. Yeah. It doesn't generate light on its own. It's like the moon masquerading as the sun. It doesn't want the sun to become obvious. Yeah. Because then the moon would have to deal with its own irrelevance. And it doesn't, that is very scary to the system, really. It is. So it just tries to dawdle around, drag its feet. But, like Ramana said, your head is in the tiger's mouth. You, Bill, you're in the colon. You've gone beyond the mouth. You're in the colon. You just don't. So you'll get it when you get shitted out. You'll get shat out, and then it'll be all clear. And you're getting close. You're almost at the
Sphincter.
the center of the whole black hole, the anus. Yeah, it's coming.
I'm crowning.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah. And you have nothing to do with it. Thank God. Yeah.
Thank God.
And everything to do with it in the cryptic manner. All right, bro. It's good to see you. It's good to see you, Maria.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
She's a very calming, Bill. You better, yeah. Put a little more Marie in Bill. All right. Who's the next person?
Stacy.
Are you guys having fun? Is it all right? Yeah. I like these little meetings. They're pretty. I walk in not knowing anything, and then I know less when I leave. So that's good. All right. Who's this?
Stacy.
Oh, Stacy. One of my earlier devotees, I think. Let's see. From LA. Oh, yeah, there she is. You need to be unmuted, hon. Mike, I think she's muted.
Okay, I'll go ahead and try it. There, it worked.
Sorry, it wouldn't let me unmute me. It said.
Oh, there you go. That was my subconscious
Oh.
working.
Ah.
A little.
All
right.
right. I'm glad you referenced the earlier devotee thing, because I feel like when you talk about, do you have to go for 3 weeks to do satsang and then get it? Like, no, the message is there. And I have to say, like, it's got to have been at least 7 years. And I feel like just recently, something that you've been speaking to all along gets it,
Yeah.
where before it was a foreign language and it was I knew there was something there, but now like it's clear the message, you know, except for a couple of things I'm still working on, but for the most part, I really get it. And what I'm finding is like the selfing wants to know what's going to happen. Like I'm very interested when, you know, people talk about, and now it's like this, or when you say your interest and attention is going to be elsewhere. I noticed that happening in my life, but then there's the, you know, the selfing going, oh, so what's it going to be like? You know, like, let's get there faster. So I think I'm in like one of those rings, because then I see that you've talked about. I have like this vivid memory of being at one of your talks in LA and walking outside to get dinner and you saying, would you look at the moonlight on those blades of grass? And I was like shocked that you noticed that kind of a thing that I would never notice before, where you talked about the flower on the cacti, right? And so I see these like little shifts in my interest and attention, but, and Brahmi may have gotten to this with her question too, but I guess what I'm wondering is, I think this is what I'm gathering is like the heist is still going to occur. I just am maybe seeing it quicker and it's falling away because I'm not as interested in it.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, the heist never occurs. The mental state implies the conclusion that it never arrives at. Yes? Do you see it? So it's saying the heist is occurring by basing it. It's a trip. See, the heist has never occurred.
Right.
It's the assumption, yeah, that it's already occurred. It's already reached conclusion. See, we get the finality of it as the beginning point, yeah? And then we're driven to try to work ourselves out of there, constantly giving our own pull, and it uses it's our own pull as gravity, yeah? We are the larger planet, yes? Yeah. So, yeah,
Okay.
so you're catching it, that's all, honey, and you look a lot different.
Older.
You look a lot different when I first met you, and then you had a period where you seemed to have gone underwater a little bit, and now you seem, yeah.
I think that, you know, I have to say, just like the action figure, whew, I watch you and I listen to you laugh, and I feel like I'm like the sad version of that. Everything, everything. I mean, not to put me on your level.
Version.
Well, you know, it's like I listen to the song like Amazing Grace. I've heard a million times, but all of a sudden I'm like, you know, it's touching me differently. Things are like, so.
That's
yeah,
great. I mean, these are all great signs. The point is, wanting to know shit is like putting a period on a living sentence. Yeah.
Right.
The head wants to have an end and a finality to it, and and a knowing of it. Yeah. Just let it break through that fucking. It's like a fabricated blockade. It doesn't exist. It can move right through.
Okay.
And more gets revealed.
Yeah. And I think I think that, you know, it's an instant, but it doesn't feel like an instant, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, the whole thing is rooted in that. And then the instant reverberates or echoes in time. Yeah. Because this is dreaming. Yeah. We're not going to see what is. We're not going to hear what is, but it can echo here. Yeah?
Yeah.
You can hear the echo. You can pick up an echo here. And it's strong. And that echo can, in my case, it became the last answer in concerning a very important topic to me, which was the wanting to get out of self, and then the inability to get out of self, which just blew my mind. How can I not fucking blast myself out of here? Until I heard the message and I realized I was trying to leave me as me. And that was it. So it wasn't, I didn't put enough fuel in the tanks. The mathematical equation is fucked. It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking at everything from zero. I was looking at it from a made up one. And I was trying to, how can one get out of this two-ness? And it just didn't work until this message hit me. And then it was like it gave such a, you ever have one of those things where you breathe out and there's a real sigh of relief, but it's been sort of like a long-lasting sigh of relief since this landed. Yeah, that's what compels it's like seeing the best movie and there was no charge, and I'm just trying to share it with other people because you're it. You are. Yeah, and all the while we're doing, you can't get around that fact. You're it. You are that which you're looking for. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, when the Course in Miracles and Lesson 2 says, you and I give everything all the meaning it has, that's a pretty big role. And I mean, it's a very all-encompassing statement because it uses everything and all in the same sentence. So it says, you and I give everything all the meaning it has. That's an incredible pointing of what our real role in here is as the dreaming. It is.
Yeah, that was very helpful.
And when I would hear descriptions of what I am through the Course in Miracles, it actually fit so much better than historical biographies my mental state has of me. I felt much more that's what I am as an activity. I'm the dreaming of the dreaming. That's what I am. I'm not this historical biography. I'm not a thing that was a thing in Rockwell Center and then a thing in Marin County and then a thing that got run over by a car. That doesn't capture what I feel as me. It doesn't. The description of a noun feels totally foreign. Now, a description of me as a verb seems a lot more, it just seems so much more intimate. So this is really what happens. It's the verb that took itself to be the noun, sees it's not a noun. Yeah? And then the horse now is in front of the cart. It's the verb. The verb is what's happening. And then there's mental interpretations implying nouns. Yeah? Instead of nouns are doing all the verbs. It's a total different world. Yeah? And I feel more like a citizen of the world of verbs than I do of a noun. I do, seriously. If you ask me, how do you feel, and read these two descriptions, I feel much more like the active verbal description of what we are in the Course of Miracles than I do of, Paul went to Catholic school, this and that. Yes, it just doesn't. It feels like an empty bag, really. Brown paper bag. It does. So, I mean, there's that mental interpretive reference point, and then there's all that's around that. Yeah? And you can come from all of those other positions instead of being stuck in this one fucking position, which is like putting a marathon runner in a closet. It's claustrophobic. You want to get out. Your total drive is, I'm hoping the next moment is better than this moment. So I'm going to use this moment to get to the next moment. That's slavery. Yeah, it is. There's nothing. Just like this guy in the AA talks, he has a beautiful description of the aperture opening. So he was in the program, and one of the prayers that we say is, please relieve me of the bondage of self. Yeah? So he's been in AA for a long time, and he does it every morning. He says, please relieve me of the bondage of self. And then he recognized that he had the relief of the bondage of self, and that praying to have it in the future was denying the fact that he was in the relief of the bondage of self. That's exactly what we're saying in a way. Yeah? The immediacy of what we are overrides all the arriving at it, all the hope to get there. it's right now. It's so ever present. It's never moved into a past or a future. It just is. And so there's that immediacy can't be mimicked here. It can't. It's tinny after a while. If you have a whack from what you are, it will take no time whatsoever. It's just a whack like that. It catches you totally by surprise in most cases, all cases. Yeah? It's so sudden because the programming sees through time, which is a form of looking called self-centeredness, and it's blind to the seeing. It's blind to it. You can't apply the looking as a vehicle to arrive at the seeing. You're just going to be more and more blind. Yeah? So, to me, the importance is to see what you're not, and then the rest of the time, you'll find out what you are. Yeah? You will. You're never gonna completely find out what you are until the end of all this, I guess, and then you'll always be what you've always been and always will be. But here, you just keep finding out what you are by recognizing what you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't feel like I really had a solid question, but I knew that it would be good to just get it out because whatever, I hear it. And
Yeah. I
thank
know you do, honey. I know you do. And yeah, you're in good hands, son. That's all I can say.
Thanks, Paul.
Rest assured that the goal at hand has already been completed, really. Yeah? You can't fuck it up at this point. You can't. Or at any point, really. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Stacy.
Thank you.
And our new friend, Timeless Sunny.
Oh, Sonny. Sonny? Oh, there you are. I see you, Sonny. Yep. You got to be unmuted. Can you do that, Mike? Or
Yeah, I just did, but he's probably trying to.
Oh, thank you.
oh yeah, he's unmuted. Mute him back again. No. All right, keep him unmuted.
Okay. Thanks, Paul. Hey, I'm one of your latest devotees. So.
Well, remember, the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. So there you go. You're in a good position.
It's been about 2.5 weeks, and I tell you, I've been maybe it's all been my personal journey. I never quite chased the gurus, so to speak, but I did dabble in them, and I still get some emails from them for stupid workshops, and it's amazing, right? I just got one 2 days ago on this silence retreat, right? It's all on Zoom. 3 days of silence retreat. So I guess the guru is going to be on silence, and I'm going to be on silence on Zoom. It's for $600. Like
$600. Wow.
I mean, it's amazing the spiritual capitalism and material.
That's pretty. Oh wow.
Yeah, I honestly,
wish I would have thought of that. I wish I would have thought of that.
but I see, previously I would have said, oh no, I mean this is bullshit. But really today I see that it's not only just that, it's actually harmful, right? For people who are buying into
Well, it can be, yes.
Right? Into
Yes,
that
can
there
be.
is something
It can
to
be. It
improve.
doesn't mean it is or it isn't, but it can be.
Right. So I know you said that the teaching is, or the message is, I need, to look for what I'm not, right? As I go about my daily life, as opposed to
No. You don't have to look for it. It's right there. It's
or identify what I'm not.
Yeah, what you're not never hides. It's because if it hid, it would be clearly not you. It's constantly arising and appearing.
Right.
You don't
But
have to
previously
look
I was
for it.
identified, and I didn't even suspect about the heist. And I do have to say that your pointer to who's hearing the message, the lion or the sheep, or the sheep that the lion that thinks it's a sheep, right? Which is really what I always did until I've started to look at this, and I read some of the old stuff that I never got. Like this one is Ashtavakra Gita by Ramesh, right? I had a question on one of them. I love the way you riff because it's through analogies. I love your lion and the sheep analogy. It's made things clearer. Your glove and the hand analogy. It seems like for me to catch the selfing or to be aware of it and see, you know, am I caught up in the story, so to rather than being identified with what I already am and always was, right? The analogies seem to work. And since there was some stuff on the moon, I just wanted to read something from Ashtavakra Gita. And by the way, after hearing your message, Ashtavakra Gita seems so relevant, but I never really could relate to it. It seemed all so repetitious, but it seems like a direct message, as you know, as close as it seems to come from you. And one of those, I just want to see what you think about, because my mind has been kind of caught. My mind has been kind of caught in this for last 2 days, 3 days, ever since I read this or heard this. And this is the verse 13, and it says that having given up external and internal self modifications and the illusion, I am the reflected individual self. So that's the illusion that I give up. Meditate on the Atman, which, I mean, again, that's not important. The true self, right, as immutable consciousness and non-dual, right? So I was wondering, I was kind of curious, what is this reflected self, right? So the sunny is not a reality. It's a reflection of something maybe that's truer. And I started kind of grokking or thinking about it or whatever, right? Mulling it over, pondering on it, and the analogy came to me is that if there is like a half a moon, and there's a reflection of the moon in 4 or 5 places on Earth. It's the same half moon. There's one in South Bronx, there's one in Beverly Hills, there's one in Ramana Ashram, and there's maybe one in AA, right? And each one of them is a reflection. And let's assume that one of those reflections is me in South Bronx. Now I'm beating myself over that I'm the real me and I'm stuck in this BS place in South Bronx with people shooting me and it's all muddy. And why can't I be in the Beverly Hills, nice flat pool, and I don't have to have these stupid muddy waters to deal with, right? So these are 4 different half moons, human beings that think they're real. Like I think I'm real in South Bronx, but if I somehow turn my attention to what I really am, and it's the moon that's reflecting the light. I'm not even the moon, that all those 4 people in all those 4 places is just reflections of the one single moon, but it's really a reflection of the sunlight, the lights that coming from the sun. So we are all the same light. Now, as I go through the day, sometimes I catch myself saying, oh, no, I'm just a reflection that's thinking I'm in charge, right? Do you think there's a problem thinking like that or stretching that analogy too much? I just want you to riff on that.
You're on fire, Sonny. You're on fire. Let it go, man. That's the marathon run out of the closet. Don't put them back in. Run with it. Get into that. Maybe you can explain what the Gita is. It's a great one. Why not? How many things get you excited? And then the head immediately says, well, you can't. Fucking just go for it. Yeah? Yeah?
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I remember I read that. It was awesome. I read a translation of it. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. They're all, there's just, if the shoe fits, wear it. Yeah.
That gave me a lot of peace because I needed something tangible.
Just share with this, Sonny. If the shoe fits, you don't take it off and compare it with other shoes. Wear it. Just fucking walk around with the shoe. You found one that fits. So right now, the Gita is fitting for you. Fucking wear it.
Okay.
Yeah. That excitement, that energy, well directed is great. Yeah. I remember when I first got introduced to like Hawaiian PO and stuff. I remember I went to Sai Baba in India, a guru. I had heard about him since I was a kid. Yeah. So I decided I was going to go there. So I went to India, and every day he would walk through the crowds twice a day. I was there for a month. And one day I had all my favorite books, were 3 of them and I have them on my head, and I had them bless the books. It was really cool. I had Hawaiian PO, and I don't know what the other ones were, and he came back and touched it and stuff like that. It was a blast. Yeah, you know what I mean. Some of these things were conduits of great communication in my life, like the Course in Miracles. The Course in Miracles excited so many avalanches inside and so much laughing, fits of laughing. Yeah, better than any comedian I ever saw.
Yeah, it's
Seriously.
fun.
And so I never thought, well, maybe it's too much. No, I just fucking dove in. Yeah. And then I was done with it seemingly. I don't read the course anymore. Yeah. I use it to speak through at times, but I'm not a student of any of it. Yeah. And I haven't had the Hawaiian Po book in a long time because I kept giving all my copies away. Yeah. But at that time, it brought about a lot of communication. Yeah. Not up here, I mean, in whatever. And man, that's why I keep using them. Those things, the statement, you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha, was a shoe that fit completely. And I wore it for a while. Yeah, that's why I use it now. Everything I say used me in a way and opened things up for me. That whatever can be perceived can't be what's perceiving. That fucking opened up a whole lot. Yeah? One of the great diagrams of my day was you and I are the dreaming of the dream. We forget that we're dreaming. Yeah? And when we forget that we're dreaming, we give everything that we're dreaming the ability to affect us. Yeah? That to me describes everyone's experience in the dreaming. Yeah? These things had an incredible impact on me. So, yeah. But I love books because there's a point you'll put them down. Yeah? And the living of it will be much more important than the reading of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
So,
yeah.
so to speak, the
Fire, man. So enjoy it, Sonny.
well, it's awesome. It's a beautiful journey.
Great. It is. Exactly. Yeah. All right. Thanks, bro. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sonny. Little Nicky.
Little Nicky. Where's Big Nicky?
Not here.
That's a Nick.
None.
Oh, let me see.
I think we should go for the
All right. Is this the Nicky I think it is?
Here, I'm trying to unmute. Oh, there we go.
One and only. Do you hear me well?
You're unmuted, little Nicky.
You hear me okay?
I do.
Oh,
Little low.
Okay, cool. I got
is
a
it closer to the
microphone.
microphone?
Yeah. You hear me well, right?
Yes, now we do. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, I have no questions. I just wanted to communicate with you, like, how grateful I am, man. Like, you bitch slapped the shit out of me, man. And I was looking for, I guess, what I was, right? But you are what you're looking for. Your message is so simple and beautiful, and because of your message, I stopped searching. I would listen to satsang so much, and they had a beautiful impact on me, but I was focusing on, I am, instead of just, no, I just am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you so much, man. I look forward to seeing you at one of your talks in person. Yeah, man, I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Nicky. And where are you? Where are you?
Toronto, Canada.
Toronto. Yeah. I
Yeah.
hope to be back there.
Yeah, good. I saw you last time you were here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very nice to see you, man.
You too.
You look like you're a radio personality. You got the fucking all the gear there.
Oh yeah, don't get
Well,
me
I have a
started.
request. I have a golden oldie. Can you play Black Black by Pearl Jam. No, no. All right, Nikki, thank you.
Actually, I'm sorry. One more thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so my my buddy Steve and we have this group or community called Hold Hands With Us, and we write songs about, I guess, what we want to hear, and it's totally non-duality. You would love that stuff, and I would love to sample your voice in one of those songs, like just saying something. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
sure. Yeah,
cool.
definitely. Just take it from anything if you want, or I'll do it live.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
sounds good.
as long as it's not like a soundtrack for hard porn or anything.
Yeah, okay. I'll try to stray
Yeah,
away from that stuff.
yeah, please. It's difficult. Yeah, I don't want it to be. Yeah. Yeah, no problem. You can get in touch with me. You through Mike, the guy who's running it, Mike Zerbal, or just on the website. You send it to Zen Bitch Slap. I'll get it.
Okay.
If you want me to do it a certain thing, if not, just take a bit out of any video if you want.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, you've said it all, man. I'll find something.
Yeah, and then send it, and then let us hear it, the final part, and we'll put it up
Definitely.
on the website.
Cool.
Yeah,
Sounds
one thing
good.
I want to talk about to the people who are in our little square community. Uh, you know, if you have any, if you want to design any shirts, we have a shirt thing. Let's just see if we can, in a weird way, have a little. Now, because I can't go out with the people I see, let's have a little community. So if you want to, you have something of interest, you want to do something, just let us know, and we'll see what we can do. Yeah, yeah,
Groovy.
yeah. It is. So thanks, bro. Thank Nikki. It's
Thank you, man.
that's a great the greatest the greatest pleasure of the hose is to feel the effect of the water. Yeah, on others. It's a very humbling and honoring sense. Yeah, yeah. So, all right, thanks. Let's go to.
Where's your friend though? What happened to your friend?
He was on. I don't know if he's still on or not, but his name's Steve. He's probably out there somewhere.
Okay.
Hey, little Nikki, I'm so happy to hear that you're gonna do this, man. I've been waiting for somebody to take Paul's talks and do music
Yeah?
over them. So thank you
my
so much for taking that on.
Definitely, man. Yeah, you guys are gonna love it. I'm telling you.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm stoked.
Cool.
We're gonna do some rapping.
Oh no, I try to trip people out, throw
Oh,
some
good.
wisdom in their face, and yeah.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Nikki. We'll hear from you soon. I hope.
Sounds good, man. Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Oh, we're doing pretty good tonight. All right. Any more questions, Mike?
I don't see any hands. Anybody else? None. No waving. No hands. Nope.
Oh, great. Not great, but great. Yeah. Let me go look at say goodbye to everyone. Hey, Deepak, nice to see you. George, it's nice to see you. Pamela. Yes. My friend Dennis from LA. Did you get any of those books, Dennis? It's good. Randy, you're inside again. That's good. Yeah. We got Sonny. Sonny's got a lot more time than he used to. Rajwinda. I have trouble saying it. Little Nicky again. Let me go back. We got Mike and Nick. Let's thank Mike for doing all this setup. He's yeah, he's a pain in the ass sometimes, but just hard to work with, I think. James, yes, one of my favorite people who I've never met. Johans, Clifford, Chiang Mai, Kelly, Z, my main man. Yeah, he's the provider of water Very important for the master. Sharon, we got Vitold. I don't know how to, oh, there he did. I said it somewhat correctly. Nice to see you. Kelly, you're looking very okay there. Let's go. We got Yariv. I didn't catch him. All right, got that. We got Phil in Sydney. Phil, I'm going to be seeing you sooner or later. I'll be coming back to Australia, I hope. Yeah, Jeff, great to see you. Yeah. Maggie, fantastic. Thanks for the share tonight. Or was it tonight or last week? I don't know, sometime. Clay, he has a new name. I thought it was something else earlier. Now it's Clay. Nice. I can't hear you, but it's okay. Stacy, fantastic. Celia, thank you so much, Celia. Yeah. Keith, he's riding into the horizon. Yes, he's on one of those moving sidewalks in Petaluma. There's Dimitri. Dimitri, thanks a lot for everything. Again, let's see. Donna, fantastic. Julia, looking very